Salon international du textile.
We choose to organize an international textile and cotton fair so that we can take ownership of the new processing technologies. To be able to effectively weave and make clothing in our country and in other African countries, which today want to effectively take charge of this clothing and everything around it, for the populations and for the different uses, and also for exports. We do have a comparative advantage, and I believe it is legitimate for us to be able to work towards making this technology our own. By creating the conditions for the establishment of factories by professionals from different sectors who are familiar with technologies and who know how to provide information to local workers so that they can work in these factories in the best working conditions. The government guarantees that whoever will set up here to process fibre from spinning to garment manufacturing, they will have the possibility of obtaining the quantity of fibre that they need for the processing. Instead of having to compete on the global market for fibre, you will have fibre nearby of very good quality. Because you know that African, and especially Burkinabe fibre, are some of the best fibres in the world. This is an opportunity that the government is creating. They are conditions that the government is providing that effectively give the opportunity to the people investing in spinning or garment processing companies to benefit from the guarantee of having raw material available. Concerning access to land, because if you talk about factories, you talk about land to set up factories, there are rules. There are rules as well that facilitate access to land in order to set up a factory, and that gives investors guarantee through long-term contract or through direct purchase. I can say that those who will come in the next 3 years, the investors, will practically not have to pay anything for land. It is good to take advantage of this now to benefit from the advantages that the government offers in terms of access to land. We believe that this is an opportunity for a number of producers who would not want to go into debt to buy chemical inputs and chemical fertilizers and pesticides for conventional cotton production to move towards organic cotton. It is a win-win situation for everyone. Instead of losing producers who are interested in making cotton but afraid of getting into debt, we have here serious candidates for organic cotton production. Today, we believe that the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there, and we think that very quickly, with the installation of the gin factory, specifically dedicated to organic cotton, we think that this will make it possible to increase organic cotton production more effectively through a whole series of packages and support systems that will be set up to support producers in a structured way and stimulating organic cotton. In the short term, we believe that irrigation is not necessarily the option that will prevail. Experiments exist with the spinning company Sofitex. So experiments exist, and today the company that spins and gins cotton in Burkina Faso ensures that farmers who grow cotton can set up rainwater harvesting basins in their fields. It makes it possible to respond to the climate events and rainy hazards that we observe. so that when there is a water stress, the rainwater that is collected in the basins can be used to water the plants and to prevent damage. So for the time being, I think that this is the approach that is being taken with regard to cotton crops in our country. Now, when it comes to large-scale irrigation of cotton crops, today we have problems to even ensure sufficient water for food crops. There are options, but in the short term, I do not think that large-scale irrigation on cotton can be a good way to go forwards because of constraints in the availability of water resources. It requires much greater investment, and as we say, we must adopt production techniques that protect the producer against debt as well. It is important that we work with ways that enable producers to avoid debt. We want to work both to provide quality products to consumers, who effectively expect quality products, while protecting those who supply them. In terms of the areas of competence in which I am an expert, agricultural and food policies monitoring, today I can say that I've intervened in practically all countries at the sub-regional level, but also as far as Haiti. This has led me to work with many specialists of the various countries of the sub-region at the level of CILSS, which now covers 12 member states in West and Central Africa, as well as the Chad and Sudan, which has just joined the organization, and at the level of the African Union, and particularly the ECA.
Au niveau de l'Union africaine et particulièrement la CEA, j'ai eu à conduire des missions donc pour le compte de la CEA.
I have had to lead missions in the field of agriculture and development in general on behalf of the ECA, which have taken me to other African countries.
J'ai travaillé pour la FAO, l'Organisation des Nations Unies pour l'agriculture et l'alimentation.
I have also worked for the FAO, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, which has also led me to work in several countries on the design and monitoring of agricultural policy in a region. It is true that I have worked much more in Burkina Faso, but I have sometimes left Burkina to bring my expertise outside the country on behalf of organizations such as FAO and CILSS.
Pour le compte d'organisations comme la FAO, le CILS, et en dehors donc du Burkina. C'est extrêmement important quand vous.
This is extremely important when you are a special advisor of a president.
Il est important de garder ce réseau de connaissances que vous vous êtes tissé au cours de votre carrière.
It is important to keep this network of knowledge that you've built up over the course of your career.
D'une personne à tous les niveaux, et que ce soit des individus.
Because problems can come at any time, and you may need a person at all levels, whether they are individuals or part of the institutions in which they work. They can support and solve a problem. It can be a case that is not progressing well in an institution. You have to be able to find someone who quickly helps you accelerate the process. It can be a problem that we have to solve. For example, the region is currently dealing with the armyworm, a parasite that was not known in the region. We have therefore to make use of this knowledge network to gather information in order to know what needs to be done and to advise the head of state accordingly. So in this sense, I can say that it has been extremely important, and it is always important, to have this network and these contacts in order to reach a certain number of people, to provide support in understanding certain situations, and to advise the head of state.
Déjà, le fait d'avoir décidé d'organiser le salon.
First of all, by deciding to organise the fair, Burkina Faso reflects its natural leadership as the largest cotton producer country on the continent. So it feels logical that Burkina Faso organises an event so all actors interested in investing in the sector, in understanding the issues faced by the cotton sector, and in providing solutions, can come together, exchange areas, exchange ideas, and make recommendation to decision and policy makers regarding the various actors of the cotton sector. They can thus support them to make the right decisions, and I have no doubt that the organisation of the event will contribute to Burkinabe women. Moreover, I would say that today's objective for us is to ensure that the whole continent can have a space where we can discuss with investors from within and outside the continent, from Asia, America, Europe, and where we can effectively ensure that the continent, the African states, are able to adopt cotton processing technologies and get everything needed to have a comparative advantage.
Du coton et tout ce qu'il y a en termes d'avantages comparatifs.